Right, and I'd also like to point out that most of the locales in this game are actually real places, like Valley of the Kings. Tomb of Ramses isn't real. I'm pretty sure it's not that elaborate, but a lot of the areas in this game are very real, and a lot of the mythology. If I go into my Trisket thing, whatever, you can actually see there's quite a bit of like stuff going on here. You can look at and like. You can look at all the enemy stats. This game has a lot of shit going on for us. If you ever want to look into it, you can always do this, too. It even has stuff like the fucking weapon stats, and it's pretty cool. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to look at in this game. Like, I know a lot of this is, like, raw right here and stuff like that. There's a lot of cool mythology put into this game. And it just adds to the flavor. I think this is what I mean. This right here, what we're looking at, this, to me, is what Serious Sam is all about. Just like big fucking open areas, lots of dudes, shit running at you, you're moving backwards. You also often hear people claim Serious Sam is the hold S to not die simulator, and that's pretty accurate. If you are not holding down a direction and jumping at least in this game, you're gonna take so much damage. And you may have been watching so far and been like, wow, this doesn't look too bad. Oh boy. If you've never played this game, you have no idea how fast shit can turn south on you in this game. One single fuck up is just enough to just absolutely obliterate you. So like, if you ignore that wearable, for example, you're pretty much gonna get ganked by everything coming at you. And this game does not have a fucking easy mode, by the way. It starts off by like showing you how it works, and then it just says, alright, here you go, have fun. And I really love that. This is one of the best games to tutorialize the player, I think, on how to play it. So, Serious Sam 3 also does a pretty good job, but Serious Sam 2, as in Second Encounter, is pretty much just like, alright, you know what you're doing, and like immediately starts throwing shit at you. So if you want to start off with a Serious Sam game, play this one first. Serious Sam 3 is great, but I would not recommend it as your very first Serious Sam experience. I'd say personally, you know, if you don't like Serious Sam 1, and not including the first encounter, don't play Second Encounter because it's a hell of a lot harder, it's a hell of a lot more stuff to keep track of, and then you're not probably going to like Serious Sam 3. I'm just going to say that right now. So, as you can see, the revolvers do some pretty solid work on the Arachnotron enemies, or whatever they're called. They're called like biomechanoids or something, I don't know. I've played this game so many times, I just call them Arachnotrons, which is sad but true. Which is also pretty cool. You'll notice a lot of the enemies just simply have projectile-based attacks. This is also why a lot of players claim Serious Sam 3 is very inferior, because a lot of the enemies have hit scans. And now this is the upgraded version. So the game's taught you, okay, cool, these blue ones are really easy. They have a little bit of health, and then this is the big bad boy. So, like I said, use your pistols as long as you can. Save all your rockets up right now. You're gonna get a rocket launcher in a few seconds anyways, so don't feel bad. But pretty much this is the game's way of saying, alright, this is the big tough shit. You gotta be ready for this. I remember this was actually a boss fight in Serious Sam 3, where you had to fight the biomech dudes, which is a little jarring and weird, but, you know, whatever. Also, thank fucking Christ you don't fight these frog enemies very often, because absolutely the most annoying enemy hands down in the entire series, I think, personally. I haven't played Serious Sam 2, but I have played the entire series other than that. And out of all those, I'd say maybe it goes Witch Bride and then these things, actually. I take it back. The Witch Bride is just mechanically frustrating. These things are just fucking annoying, because they just tank your health off if they get too close. And I always feel like I don't know how to dodge them when they get too close, because every enemy can be dodged to an extent. There is some instances where it's like, oh shit, that was bullshit. Like, you'll jump over like a biomech when it's shooting a rocket, and then it dies, and then the fucking rocket just tanks you, because they always shoot a rocket when they die. So it's very, 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 very irritating when you get killed by shit like that, trust me, it's not fun. So, also, I love the fact that this game does teach the player to look in all directions at all times, because you can see what I mean. Right now we've got kamikaze dudes, we've got the bulls, we gotta move around constantly, we gotta make damn sure we don't get caught up in any of this stuff. Because, man, those kamikaze units, they do so much damage, it's not even funny. They will absolutely fuck you up. If they don't kill you outright, whatever's following them will probably kill you afterwards. And my god, those frame drops. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. It's probably dirt in the computer, I don't know. Fucking, who knows. Shit, my aim. I would say the wearables are my favorite enemy to fight because they're just mechanically very interesting. Like, they require the player to know their, like, boundaries and stuff. It's really cool. Also up there is a statue of Osiris, and then there's Ra, I believe. I don't know. It's some Egyptian mythology thing. I know that Osiris is the first mummy, technically, in, like, whatever. I know most of the story of Egyptian mythology, so I'm not an expert, don't quote me on it. But yeah, these green dudes, they suck. So here, have a giant red one that shoots extra fast. So if you're playing in normal, you don't fight very many of these. I think this is the only one you fight in the entire game. But if you're playing in serious and above, you do see these guys quite often. If you're like, how are you cheating? You're cheating. No, just dodge. Like, you just keep jumping like I'm doing, and you'll pretty much take care of everything. Like I said, Serious Sam is 100% mobility. If you don't have mobility, you're probably going to get killed. And as in probably, I mean you're totally going to get your ass kicked. So, you can also see that the knife is very good. I was able to kill that Reptiloid with just the knife, basically, up close. They do have a melee attack, but it's not very dangerous. Almost every enemy in the game also does have a melee attack, because why not? So I am saving my rockets for a very specific reason here. I'm going to do a rocket jump in a second. So, also, if you've ever played Doom and you know how to kite Pinky Demons, it's pretty much the same stuff here. Do I even have anything to kill these with? No, not really. I'll probably just have to cheese them away, which kind of sucks. So, every time you hear them make that, like, "Arr!" that's basically an opportunity to keep doing damage because that's their hit stun. This is also, like I said, it's a lot like Doom where you have to pay attention to enemies' like frames and just, it's a really good like experience for a good shooter, I think personally. So let's see if I can do a rocket jump here. I am at a quick save. I don't normally like to do this. Let's not do that badly. Oh god, okay. Well, that kind of worked. I mean, it was a little sloppy, but it's fine. So, I was going to knife that guy to show off how effective it is, but I think you get the gist, pretty much. So, I'm not going to be doing too many skips like that. That's one of the few ones I actually know works. I don't really like skipping in this game because it is a very, like, fun game, and I don't like to feel like I'm just betraying it. But if there's a side path I don't want to go down, I'm not going down it, trust me. It's just like, there's some instances where you just don't want to do it. Like, it's just too much danger. And also, if you ever play Team Fortress 2, you'll learn how to check your situations really well, and if not, this game will make you very aware of your situations. Because you can, like, and the game was designed around this feature as well, in that enemies will spawn behind you quite a bit, and they generally spawn quite a few of them behind you, because they want to make sure the player's moving around constantly. It's a really nice tactic, I like it a lot. Some people might get mad about it, but I personally don't, so. Alright, and this is a very quakey puzzle. Just gotta kill the chicken nuggets here. I don't know what they're actually called. I'm pretty sure they're called NAR, like GNAR or something, but trust me, I don't really care. So you can see how quickly my health is also just chipping off, too. Like, I am dead serious. This game looks easy at first until you start playing it and you realize how frail you actually are. So, like, keeping your distance from enemies if you can, and chipping them away with something easy is usually a pretty good idea. And I love all these little health pills. They make me think of Altoids. So, like I said, I don't really like these interior areas of Serious Sam a lot. They just feel really janky, I guess. Like, the combat really just doesn't excel very well in these tight corridors. But it is pretty cool looking either way. Pretty sure there's a secret in there, but I'm not really worried about it. Like, I really don't worry about secrets in these kinds of games, honestly. They're just not that big of a deal to me. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I absolutely love Serious Sam, and I had a big ol' fucking stiffy hankering to play it, so any reason to make me play this game is a good one. And since it isn't a very long game, I am going to be doing 2 breaks, or 1 break, I should say. And you can see what I was talking about. The designers knew you'd funnel back like this, so they send in those clear to make sure you don't do it. It's a really dirty tactic, but it is a really cool one at the same time. And you can see they're starting to put them around corners and stuff as well. But, yeah. I really, really love Serious Sam. I actually was playing Tomb Raider 1 after I played this last night because I absolutely love Egyptian stuff, and I always love games like this. They just make me think of when I was a kid. My parents got me this book on mummies, like bog mummies and stuff. It was by Eyewitness, there we go. I have one on those for Sasquatch, Loch Ness Monster, and Yeti. And I also have one for mummies based on like Egyptian mummies, Aztec mummies, and stuff like that. So I really grew up like just knowing cool shit like this was just awesome to me. Like, tombs and stuff are just awesome to me in general because I think personally I love how ritualistic and important these kinds of things were in ancient cultures, and I just love to see glimpses of it. So like, if you do know anything about Egypt, a lot of this is very like accurate. I'm not sure if any of these hieroglyphs are actually translated to anything important, but you know, like the Book of the Dead, the Rosetta Stone, like all those things. Well, the Book of the Dead was a thing for every like major scale burial, but you know what I mean. Like, there was so much culture in ancient Egypt, and it was such a cool fucking place. And it's like, you see the pyramids and you just go, oh, well, it's just a bunch of fucking triangles, right? Like, I mean, yeah, it could interpret it that way, but at the time, I love how people also think that fucking, and this game is a joke on that, is that the aliens built, like, the pyramids and shit. But I personally don't believe that. I'm not even gonna call it a theory, because a theory is a scientifically accurate, like, about to be proven, like, law. So, first of all, if you've ever seen Egyptian stuff, look up fucking anything that's not the pyramids, and you'll be like, okay, that makes sense. The pyramids are rather simplistic in comparison to other things as later dynasties started coming out. Like, look at fucking some of the ancient, like, ceremonial grounds they made, like in Valley of the Kings and everything, and like, there's that giant walkway of the heavens or whatever it's called. Like, there's so many more fucking things that are cooler looking than the pyramids, but the pyramids are really cool on a grand scale. But I always thought, like, what was interesting was how mummification was so, like, important, I guess. Like, the amount of effort they put into mummification and how well those mummies hold up to this day is probably better than we actually preserve our dead nowadays. It's insane to me. But, yeah. So this part's a little bit bullshit, I will admit. I'm not a really big fan of this part, and I do not know why I keep getting frame drops. That's really getting old. This is a game where you don't want that to happen. So if you hit these enemies at least once, you can sort of fuck with their AI. And I'm going to skip a little bit here and just run into this room because you don't want to be in that room, man. This shit can go so south on you so fast. Like, look how much armor I had and health, and now look at it. Like, one thing I will say in Serious Sam, you want to make sure you have a constant supply of HP, and make sure you're picking up your items at the right time. So, like, this isn't like in Quake where you have overheals that have decay. In Serious Sam, it's a lot like in Doom, where overheals and overhealed armor will basically buff you as long as you are playing safe, and you can keep that armor and health up, which is a really... that's actually how I design Doom levels as well. I make sure the player has a constant, like, supply of some kind. Damn, that frame drop. That is really bad. I saw that on the actual, like, counter in there. It's like 20 frames a second there for a moment. I don't know what it is. I'm not rendering anything. I'm not doing anything in the background. It's just, I will admit the Serious Sam engine is not very stable in the HD versions, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I absolutely love Egyptian mythology. I love Egyptian culture. I mean, it's nowhere close. I should say ancient Egyptian because it's very different to what it is now. Obviously, people in Egypt in present day, pretty different than they were about 4,000 years ago. But you know what I mean. I do love when people are like, oh, those fucking aliens helped them build it. It's like, you know what I told someone at work once that was trying to say that? I was like, you know, maybe we take for granted the fact that we have technology, and maybe people back in the day who didn't have technology just had to kind of not worry about dumb shit anymore. They had, like, basic survival, like, you know, if it wasn't eating or fucking, you were probably building something or worshipping something. So they didn't have a lot of, like, downtime that was wasted, I guess. You know, if you were farming or you were fucking, those were basically the goals of, like, living back then. And, yeah, I mean, seriously. People are like, oh, well, they built them by slaves. It's like, yeah, but most of their workers had, like, fucking adequate housing, and they were, like, treated pretty well, and women were respected really well in ancient Egypt, too. It's pretty cool. I absolutely love Egyptian lake culture. It was just really fascinating. Do I have enough to do this? Okay, good. So that's how you get to the secret level. Let's go ahead and get some more ammo before we do that. So you can drop down there and do Oasis, but I'm not going to do that. So we're going to go do the secret level Moon Mountains next. So I'll see you in the next one.